Man, this ChatGPT is insanely good. Like, it can create anything and answer almost any question. It will help so many jobs, it will help so many lives. It's really good. Wait. What do you mean any question? Anything? Like whatever I ask him? Yeah, man, almost anything. Just ask him. He can code, he can do everything. Check it out. Maybe you can educate yourself on trading a bit more. It can actually really help you out. Okay, that sounds interesting. I'll try him out. Which coin will go to the moon? Please don't tell me you asked him which coin will go to the moon. What? No, I'm doing my research, okay? So please leave me alone. I'm educating myself. Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Dan, and as always, we're gonna be doing this weekly analysis, go over everything that's happening in the market. We're gonna start, of course, with technical analysis, then hop on some news, economic calendars, and of course, without further ado, let's not keep you waiting. Let's hop onto the technical analysis for Nasdaq 100. Okay, guys, Nasdaq 100, as you can see, we have reached 13,300. And I've told you, if we keep up the bullish momentum, we're going to break this zone and we will end up somewhere at 13,200. That was my initial expectations. But however, we ended up really strong the week in green because we had a PCE data and of course macro, the news take over the technicals, and then we ended up at 13,300. Now, as you can see, we do look a little bit extended, and what do I expect in the next week to happen? So what I would expect for next week to happen, because we are extended a little bit, I would expect at least some kind of a pullback all the way down to 13,000 or so to retest this and to create it into a support. All right, just to continue all the way back to our initial target, which is this 13,600. I was actually a little bit more bearish last time, and I said that I don't expect it to see 13,600 that soon. However, the momentum is here, and we are going to continue with the momentum to the upside, and most probably April can be a really good month for stocks and indices and everything. And if we keep up this way, we might even break 13,600 and retest 14,000, who knows. Indicators are not telling us anything, but let's zoom in onto the one-day chart. And on the one-day chart, we have this bearish divergence that is still there. And on RSI, as you can see, we're just crossing the area of 70, which is actually like overbought area. And usually we do have a slight pullback after we enter this area on a bigger time frame. So we might actually see some kind of a pullback over here, as I told you, and I would actually short it all the way up to around 13,000 just to continue and long it back to 13,600. So this week's play that I'm going to be trading is a small pullback on the first sign of weakness when the market opens, short it all the way down to 13,000 if we hold strong, and if we don't reach 13,000, if we maybe just reach 13,150 or something, never mind, I'm just gonna short it and ride the momentum as long as it goes. If we establish some kind of strong support in this area, that's it, just exit your short with 150 points or so, and that's about it. But as I told you, we want to see a retest of 13,000 just to continue back to 13,600. Now let's just zoom in on a smaller time frame to confirm if there's anything happening. Yes, on 4-hour chart we do see bearish divergence on MACD. However, on RSI, nothing is happening still. But as you can see, we are really extended to the top side, and I really want to see some pullback, because pullback is a healthy thing. Even if we go a little bit higher, I really think that we're gonna go back at least to 13,100, but preferably to 13,000. And that would be our main area of support at the moment. Now let's zoom in even further on 1-hour chart, and on 1-hour chart we don't have absolutely anything. All the indicators are converging, so that is a good thing. Now let's move on to Bitcoin. Bitcoin weekly chart. Let me just hide these EMAs not to confuse you with too many lines. So as you can see, Bitcoin, everything still remains the same. This huge hidden bearish divergence is still there, but we're not gonna even look at it because this top is too far away back. So we're gonna look at the recent data, and everything is converging over here. So weekly chart, nothing is there. Now let's zoom in and let's comment the last or the previous pattern that I saw and that I thought that it will play out. For transparency reasons, I left it there. I didn't want to delete absolutely anything. I saw this beautiful diamond pattern, okay? And it actually, I was thinking that this pattern will break out to the downside, because usually it does break down to the downside as a reversal pattern. However, we did break down all the way to 26,500, but we actually made it a strong support zone, and we managed to bounce back right off of it to the upside. I really thought that we're gonna break further down to the downside and end up at 25,250, but that did not happen. So I'm gonna delete this lines over here, because this pattern now, the diamond pattern, is invalidated. So it did not play out really the way I thought it would be. Now what we see, Bitcoin is creating some kind of a double top, okay? So as you can see over here, and I'm gonna mark it right over here, this is our supply zone, and until we break this zone at the moment, we are not going to see 32k. So we need to break 29k and then smash the highs until the 32k, which is going to be right over here, the previous highs. But until we do break 29k and make it into a support, we're not going to see 32k. So the move that we want to see in a bullish scenario is something like this. Let me just zoom out and then let me just take a brush over here. So what we want to see is some move like this. Let's say we go all the way up, break it around 30,000, come back, retest it, make it a support at around 29,000, and then just continue to 32,000. That will be a very bullish scenario for Bitcoin, where we would see 32k. But as you can see in this double top at the moment, we're actually just bouncing off of this area, and we are not managing to break it. And this, I'm not gonna lie, does not look very good. You see this double top over here that played out, it's actually the same or similar thing that's playing out right over here. So we did have this first push, we didn't manage to break it. Then with the second push, we managed to break it a little bit, but we created a new area of resistance, and then boom, we crashed all the way down to 19,000. And then we had these good news and pushed back all the way to 29k. First time we tried to break it, we didn't manage. Now the second time, and now we're bouncing off back to the downside. Now first point of support will be 27,500. If we manage to hold that, that's going to be good. I expect a bounce back and move something like this, just to go back into the range and maybe range somewhere over here. If not, it's going to be a typical false break all the way to 26,500. And if we come to 26,500 and stay there, we're still in a bullish momentum, everything is fine. If we, however, break this, that means that we're going back to previous highs or previous resistance, which is going to be our support now at 25,300. So let's recap. The first area, big area of support, is 26,600. So if we continue all the way down, we expect this area to hold. If we break even this area in a bearish scenario, the next support is 25,300. But in a bullish scenario, if we just decide to reverse, we need to break 29k, go all the way instantly to 30k, come back down, retest this area, make it a support, and then continue to 32,000. Now for Bitcoin, my personal expectations are the same. I really see this as a kind of bearish momentum. I will not be taking any trades at the moment until the market gives me a clear sign what it wants to do. I will wait for the market tomorrow to see if it wants to retest the 27,600, and if we hold this area, it's going to be very important. If we break this area to the downside, I will probably short it a little bit to ride it all the way until 26,600, and from this point onwards I will be longing. But as I told you, I will not be taking any trades until I see what it will react over here in this area at around 27,000. Maybe if we're gonna come back, because literally now we're in the middle of nowhere. Like, this looks bearish, okay? This, to me, if I see it, I see this beautiful double top that's forming, and I do see potential target of 26,600. And as I told you, and it looks like a nice short. However, we saw with Bitcoin, anything can turn around in a second. If the market is performing very well, Bitcoin can just turn around and boom, and we can just do something like this, boom, go to the upside, right? So at the moment for Bitcoin, I will not be taking any trades. I will wait for it to retest these two areas that I told you, and then we'll see and we'll take it from there. As long as we manage to keep up this support of 26,600, we remain bullish. Okay, now let's move on to some news. Economic calendar, as always, is going to be the next news, and for Monday we have a lot of interesting things. We have PMI data and ISM manufacturing PMI. Of course, pay attention to PMI. We need to see better than 47.5. Then on Tuesday we have JOLTS job openings. So the next week will be job oriented. Again, job data, we want to see it worse, because worse is better. I know, crazy times we live in. Then we have FOMC member Rosengreen speaks, factory orders. Then on Wednesday we have ADP non-farm employment change. We have export imports, trade balance of the month of Feb. Then we have ISM non-manufacturing employment and ISM non-manufacturing PMI. Pay attention to these reports. These are going to be very, very important reports. Also ADP non-farm employment change. Pay attention to that because it keeps surprising to the upside. Thursday, we have, of course, as always, initial jobless claims. And on Friday, we have Good Friday, which is a holiday, and the stock market will not be open. However, futures and I believe commodities indexes will be open. You will be able to trade them. Then on Friday, we have Fed balance sheet, reserve balances with Fed Reserve, and then we have hourly earnings, average hourly earnings. Of course, again, this is another job-related data. Non-farm payrolls. And then a very important one is going to be unemployment rate. So this is going to be to end the week and to sum it up with the job data. Pay attention to all these reports, go them one by one. And remember, guys, one more thing. In April, we're starting back what? Earnings season. So April can be bullish month if we have some very bullish news from the earnings of the companies that are going to be reporting. If the earnings are bad, of course we can have a turnaround and then just wipe all these gains that we had so far. But knowing the market reaction, usually if the reports are not too bad, market tends to be very optimistic, and take it with like, okay, it's not too bad, it's fine, we can still go up. So the market participants just don't want to hear catastrophic news. Everything else is like they find some positive thing in it, right? Anyways, I wandered off too far. So note that in April we might continue to the bullish momentum, but it's important to know in back of your head that April potentially can be a good month to continue with this bullish momentum, because we have upcoming earnings reports, and people usually are kind of hyped up before the earnings, and then when the earnings start, we start off in green, and if the earnings are good, of course, once again. So let's move on to some news. Fed's Waller said that US inflation can drop without much harm to job market. Why am I reading this article to you? Is just because I want to tell you how Fed are slowly changing their minds. Fed participants are slowly changing their mind and saying, oh, inflation can actually drop without harming too much the job market. Like, it's okay. We don't need to see too much of unemployment, because remember when Fed Chair Powell had to testify before the committee, and remember how they blasted him with questions saying you're literally creating this recession and you want people to lose jobs. So now, in order to be good guys, they're now slowly changing their phrasing and words, the same way they did with inflation in 2021 when they said it's transitory. So now they're saying can drop without much harm to job market. And when you see these kind of small hints, you need to listen to them, because they tell you that the market sentiment is changing, and we're slowly seeing this pivot somewhere there on the horizon. Is just getting closer and closer to us, which is good news. Now let's go on to some crypto news. Elon Musk requests dismissal of $258 billion Dogecoin lawsuit. He got sued by plaintiffs. He was playing a fictitious financial expert and called Dogecoin a hustle, causing the price of Doge to sharply decline minutes after the show. You know how it goes. People just want to make money and sue everyone and try to get any single dollar from anyone. And of course, I don't think they're gonna see anything from Elon Musk, let alone 258 billion, right? But the hype made some news around the Dogecoin. Dogecoin started skyrocketing. Elon is still supporting it. It's behind it. La la la. Basically, you get some hype around the Dogecoin, which we didn't have in a while because it was quite dead or dead-ish, to together with Shiba Inu. Let's move on to some other news. Binance versus CFTC. Latest court battle could alter crypto landscape in US. CFTC is the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, and guys, they're now suing Binance. They're saying that they did illegal activities, that they have their own trading desks, which they might have. I mean, I don't know. Like, these big companies, you can never trust them. Everybody wants to make money, right? And do they make money on commissions only? Is he really that kind of a saint? I don't know. I mean, I trust the guys. I told you, I'm using Binance. I've been depositing, withdrawing my money from there. Never ever I had a single issue with them. So as far as this remains, I will be loyal to them. I have no incentive to go anywhere else. But CFTC, SEC, everyone now are going after Binance, after the CZ, because their favorite character, Sam Bankman-Fried, is now at home prison. So probably he's pulling his connections as well to try and to discard the reputation of Binance as much as he can and to destroy it as much as he can. I'm quite sure he's involved in this. Of course, not directly, but indirectly throughout his peers and throughout the people who he has been paying. And now, you know, Binance is just fighting all these guys. But CZ, as always, he's actually really good marketing guy. He always has a response to their actions and their threats and their lawsuits. He always goes on Twitter and then gives you these huge explanations and whatever. And actually, he even had a statement that he posted on Binance immediately whenever this happened. And he answered all their points that they were making one by one. Eventually, this is just to tell them, to the Binance and CZ, like, listen, you're not bulletproof. We can get you, you know, if we really want to. It's just like, probably they're gonna find them after a long period of court filings and all this stuff. Who knows? I mean, the banks are having every single year millions and millions of dollars in fines. Why? Because they can afford to pay them, because they make billions out of the illegal activities they do. So let's say you have an illegal activity and you make 1 billion, and then you have to pay $35 million as a fine. That's a fair trade, right? I mean, and that's happening on a yearly basis with the banks. Just have a look at the Credit Suisse. There was not a year that they didn't pay like 100 millions or something in fines for some illegal activity. Anyhow, to conclude, that will be all for this weekly analysis. So I do expect Nasdaq to pull back a little bit. Crypto, I am unsure where we're gonna head, but if we keep up the momentum, we might go pull back a little bit just to continue to the upside and finally see this 32k on Bitcoin, which would be great. I would really love to see it. And of course, Nasdaq, I would love to see sitting somewhere at 13,600, and then we'll see from there how the momentum goes. Most probably now, after April, they have a saying, sell in May and go away, because a lot of the institutions, they tend to sell off some riskier assets before the summertime, and then we have this low volatility season. At that time, we might shift our bullish momentum to bearish, and maybe we see another leg down. How big of a leg down, we'll see, and we might create some new lows, or we might go have just a slight pullback somewhere in June, July, and then just to continue the bullish momentum somewhere August, September, and towards the end of the year to have a grand finale and finish the year at around, let's say, 14,200 for Nasdaq, and Bitcoin at around 35k. That would be like a really nice scenario to play out for the end of the year. But of course, as always, I went too far. We'll go take step by step, week by week. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please subscribe to the channel, put a notification bell on, comment on what you want to see in the next video, and I will see you. Until then, have a good day.